Okay, here is another Werner Miller miracle performance. This one is also beyond belief. It really, really is. Okay, so what you need for this is you just need 4 random cards chosen by the spectator. Now, I need to point out that you as the performer will never see the faces of the cards until at the very end. You'll see the face of the particular card that the spectator freely remembered among those 4. Okay, so that's important to know. You have no idea what the identity of any of the cards is. Now, of course, since I don't have a spectator here, we're going to have to kind of look at the cards together, but just realize as the performer, you'll never see the faces of the cards until the very end, and that's when you'll reveal to the spectator the card that they must have noted. Okay, so this really is beyond belief, as you'll see. So maybe I'll take one there, well, 2, one from there, a third one, and a 4th one. Okay, so I'm just trying to get a true random selection here. Okay, the spectator can mix those if they would like. That'd be fine. Okay, so this is what you would do. You would just hold them up without looking at them yourself, and then the spectator freely remembers any one of these cards. Any of those 4 cards is their special card. Well, since I don't have a spectator, we're going to have to look at them together. So let's say they look at these cards and for whatever reason they're attracted to the Jack of Hearts. Okay, so they're thinking Jack of Hearts is their special card. Now, after they've noted their card, they're free to mix these. Or if you want to mix them for them, that'd be fine. Okay. And so you just gather these up. And so what you're going to do is you're going to ask a couple of questions. And then the answers to those questions will enable you miraculously to find their freely remembered card. Okay, so this is what we're going to do as the performer. So just kind of watch me here. I'm going to do a reverse counting and out jogging the even position cards. Okay, so this one would go into my other hand, and then this is position 2 originally. So out jog, in jog, and then position 4 originally, out jog. And then I just hold these 2 up for the spectator to verify whether or not their card is among these 2. Now, they don't speak this out loud. They're just looking at them and they're just needing to remember yes or no to that question. Is their card among these 2? Well, we can see that it's not. Okay, so the answer that the spectator's remembering for this first pair is no. Their card is not among these 2. Now, as the performer, you put this pair back on top. Okay, and now we'll perform that just one more time. Out jog the even position cards. Show these 2. Ask the spectator, is your card among these 2? Okay, let's see if it is. And the answer is no, right? You remember their card was the Jack of Hearts. Okay, so the answer to both of the questions in this particular case will be no. Okay, so they're thinking no and no for their 2 answers. Now, for you as the performer, instead of putting these on top like we did with the first pair, they go on bottom. Okay, so you do need to do that for it to work. First pair goes on top, second pair goes on bottom. Okay, and then once again, you just remember you have not been told anything about the answers to those 2 questions. And then at this point, you ask the spectator, okay, what were the answers to the 2 questions that I asked? Well, the spectator is going to tell us the answers were no and no. So what we do is we use those 2 answers in the following way. So the first answer is no. So what you do, so you just spell no. So you go N, and then the next final letter in the word goes down. The second answer was also no. So you go N, and then O goes down. This top card now is guaranteed to be their card, which is the Jack of Hearts. Okay, so let's do that again. But this time we'll choose a card in a different position so that we don't get the same answers here. Okay, so here's a second try here. So you have them look at the cards and make note of any one of the four, okay? And so maybe they'll look at these, and the ace of hearts is just irresistible, so they choose to remember that card, okay? Ace of hearts, okay? Now you as the performer need to reverse count and jog out the even position cards. Show those, you don't look at them, show those to the spectator and ask them, is there a card among these two? And they're going to think, not tell you, think to themselves, no. Now these cards go on top, as we mentioned. The first pair always goes on top, and then we'll repeat that again like this. Show them the next pair. Is there a card among these two? And the answer is yes. It's right there, the ace of hearts. But regardless of their answer, which they don't tell you anyway, these get put on bottom. And then you just simply ask them, what were the answers to the two questions? And they're going to say it was no to the first and yes to the second. Okay, so no to the first question. N-O. Yes for the second question. Y-E-S. This card here is guaranteed to be their selection. Okay? This is just an absolutely mind-blowing, creative routine here. Now, I do want to warn you, it is easy to jump to a conclusion here and think that, oh boy, this is really simple because there's four objects here. And we know from information theory that if you have four choices, you should be able to ask just two questions to identify a unique one among the four. Well, that is true. But that's only the first part of this. The question is, how do the answers to those two questions enable you to use a spelling procedure to find that secretly remembered card? Okay, so that really is the miraculous step. It's the spelling procedure that pulls it out of the air, essentially. Okay, so what I've done here is I've just numbered the cards 1 through 4. And so if you do this kind of reverse counting, jogging forward the even position cards, you'll be showing the spectator card 4 and 2. So let's say your card is card 1, okay? And so if they show you these two cards here, you're going to say, no, your card is not among those. And now for the second pair, when you do that out jogging, you'll be showing them card number 1 and 2. Well, their card number 1 is right here. So they're going to say yes. So right now their answers are no and then yes. Okay. And then once you stack this pair on top and this one on bottom, the new ordering that started out 1, 2, 3, 4 is now 3, 4, 1, 2. And then what we discover is card 1 will have the following answers, which we just saw actually. Card 1, the first answer is no, 1 is not in here, but it is in here. For card 2 is in here and in here. For card 3 is not in here or here. Card 4, it is in here, but not there. So here are the 4 possibilities, okay? Now, the really clever part is the spelling system here. And so if you follow this through, if we're focused on the first card being our card, then the answers we would give would be a no and a yes, right? So here is the new order of the cards after we've done the out jogging. So if you perform this procedure where, quote, spelling out no, the top card of 3 gets moved to the bottom, and then the next card gets set down into another pile. That would take us right here. The second answer was yes, which means we're going to move 1 and 2 to the bottom as we spell E-Y, and then we're going to set the 3 down on top of the 4. So we get this situation here. And so the cards that we're actually still holding in our hand are cards 1 and 2. And that top card, as we revealed in the performance, is in fact the card that they noted, card number 1, okay? And then maybe we'll just step through one more of these, but I have all of the steps here. So let's say the card they secretly remembered was 2. Well, they would give an answer of yes to the first question and an answer of yes to the second question. So it would be yes, yes. Well, if we take our new ordering that came from the out jogging process, the 3 and 4 would get moved to the bottom. The 1 would be set down as a second pile, or a beginning of a second pile. And then from here, if we spell out yes yet again, we would move the 2 and the 3 to the bottom, set the next one down, 4 on top of our 1 that's already on the table. We would be in this situation here. And the top card of the pair of cards that we're still holding in our hand will in fact be card number 2. And you can check that this works for card 3 and card 4. Okay, so how in heaven's name he came up with this in connection with what we know from information theory about the ability to uniquely identify one object among 4 by asking just 2 carefully crafted questions. How he married these 2 together, I haven't a clue. Okay, so anyway, this is one for your repertoire for sure. If you just perform it a few times, you'll see, okay, this is not difficult. Mechanics are fairly simple. Just remember to set that first pair on top, the second pair on bottom, and then the spelling is guaranteed to just snatch their card out from among those 4, and that will be the first time that you actually see the face of the card that they remembered. It'll be at the very end for the reveal. Absolutely amazing. So thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.